All right, welcome to another episode of the Rogue Asset Podcast with Daren Hall. Man, it's an exciting day. I'm actually in the studio with none other than the man they call Action. If you're in the entertainment business, if you're in music, you're on the music scene in Atlanta, y'all know who I'm talking about. Rodney Simpson, a.k.a. Action. Alabama State alum.
Whoa. Alabama A&M University.
Hey, my bad, man. Alabama A&M. All right. So, Rodney, we're going to kick this off, man. Tell us about yourself. I mean, there's so much to tell. You know what I mean? Tell us about, FameLive Enterprises and everything that's going on over there, who you are, how you started. Background, what led you into media?
Okay, let's start from the beginning. I was in school, of course, at A&M, working after school, started my corporate job, met one of our, what would I call him? Our temps. His name was Anthony Ransom. He was cousins to Brian and Brandon Casey and Jagged Edge. And eventually I met their mom, Miss Linda Casey. And at the time, Anthony was thinking about going into artist management, and he comes up to me one day right before he deployed, because, he went into the Air Force. Mm-hmm. So he deployed. Well, he went to basic. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about managing artists. And I'm like, okay, count me in. Let's do it. Before that, I wasn't even into anything as far as entertainment is concerned. Music, none of that. I mean, I was modeling or whatever. I was modeling for different agencies around Huntsville, where I was, Huntsville, Alabama, where Alabama A&M University is, Huntsville, Alabama. Anyway, so when Anthony came back, we began managing a couple of artists around the city. And at the same time, he decided he wanted to be an artist. So I'm like, dude, you know Anthony, you can't be an artist and manage artists.
Right.
So we got to the point where, like, I was like, look, dude, we gonna manage these dudes, or I'm just gonna leave and let you do what you do. So I left. I created my first company, Action Enterprises, took on managing a couple of different artists and producers and DJs and stuff like that, including Anthony. I became his manager. Miss Casey came to Huntsville. She saw what we were doing as far as getting him on the radio and stuff like that, because I was working, he was working. We were working any project he had. And eventually the artists that we were managing, they were gone because you can't manage and be an artist at the same time. Mm-hmm. So back to the point, she came and she was like, look, I like what you guys are doing. Why don't you come to Atlanta and work with the boys? And the boys being Brian and Brandon.
Them damn twins.
Right. And we get here. He came first. I stayed because I was still working corporate. I was working for a company in Tennessee. Then, when we first started, I was working for a company in Huntsville, but I eventually retired from that job, took a job in Tennessee, and I was driving to Tennessee an hour every day. One day, I came out here because I was modeling with the Bronner Brothers fashion show. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? I'm just moving to Atlanta. I mean, I'm going back and forth. Why not just give it up? Anthony was like, yeah, man, come on out here and work with me and blah, blah, blah. And he was running the studio out in Decatur. 581 was the name of the label, but the studio was Joie, Jaggers of the Interest. So I came out here. Anthony actually was about to be deployed, if I'm not mistaken, to Germany. He left and went to Germany. And I was here, but I was working just a regular old temporary job or whatever. So when he got back, he was like, hey, man, you still want to come over here and work with us, with the twins or whatever? And I'm like, all right, cool. So I lived in Lithia Springs. The studio is in Decatur. So imagine me working all day, driving all the way out 20, all the way to the east side, doing what I got to do with the studio, cleaning up, whatever, washing dishes if they were in the kitchen sink, cleaning up the studio, throwing away blunts and whatever else was in there, condoms or whatever, liquor bottles, shit, finishing up, locking the doors, driving all the way back to Lithia Springs, getting up the next morning, going to the job. One day, I think I was talking to Miss Casey. I was talking to Anthony. I was like, "Why don't you just move out here, move in the studio?" Because the studio had a basketball court in it, and had an apartment above the court. So I moved out there, moved in the studio, quit the little temp job, I'm full in. Then I'm behind the counter. I'm sitting behind the desk when people come in. You know, I met so many different celebrities that way, man. I mean, I was there when Keisha Cole shot her first reality show, which was shot in July. You know, I think it was Keisha, damn, I forgot what it was called. But like, I opened the door up when Trey Songz and Daz Dillinger and Raekwon and everybody came through, man. I got to interact with them and get a lot of information from them as far as how the game worked and stuff like that. And while I was there, Ian Burke, everybody's familiar with Ian Burke.
Right.
Ian Burke was the head of A&R. And, you know, he gave me hell from the beginning, like taking orders as far as like food orders and stuff like that. I'd be at the desk, they'll be in the conference room having a meeting, just come out and scream, go get us, blah, 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 blah. Now remember, I'm 29 years old then. I'm not a kid.
Right.
I'm grown. I've worked, I've made a great salary over the past 10 years. Now I'm an intern. I'm taking orders from somebody. So I humbled myself.
That's how determined you were to get in the game.
I humbled myself. Whatever they needed, I did it, you know, no matter what it was, you know. A lot of crazy things I did for them. Nothing like Diddy-ish or whatever, I guess, what you would say. I mean, people are so focused on this dude, man. I'm just like, nothing on that level, everybody. But, you know, just wild stuff. I saw a lot of wild stuff. You know, eventually, you know, I decided that after, you know, doing things with the label, becoming an A&R with the label, bringing in a few artists, brought in one female, her name was Renee. They signed her to Bad Girl. Bad Girl was a group comprised of Love, Renee, and Lamaya Good, who was Megan Good's sister. Mm-hmm. So I felt like, you know, the twins and everybody there, nobody really understood that the whole independent game, where it was going. Mm-hmm. So one night in a meeting we had, Big Duke was an A&R from Boys in the Hood. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew Tattoo is. Tattoo was their road manager back then, but we were all kind of putting the 581 music group label together. Mm-hmm. They were, Miss Casey and the twins manager. I don't think she was a manager then, but Mamil. Mm-hmm. Close like family, anyway. So I'm like, you know, I think you guys should go independent. Everybody looked at me like, independent, what are you talking about? Now this is prior to...
That was a curse word back in the day, man.
Right. This is prior to Cam and Jim making it a hot thing.
Right.
But I knew, because I was on their MySpace pages back then. That's how old this is, MySpace. I was on their pages. I saw in Texas alone, they had like 50,000 ladies that were like, if we sold any merch, any music, anything, I'm like, damn, they'll buy it. So I'm like, yo, let's go independent.
Yeah.
Everybody looked at me like I had two heads. I was like, all right, cool. So things kind of went sideways from there, more or less. Like, I was, you know, maybe getting too big for my britches or whatever. I wanted to do other things or whatever. So Miss Casey told me, if you want to go, you can go, you know.
So you left?
By then, Ian Burke had left. Ian was working at Purple Ribbon, Big Boy's label.
I'm familiar. Mm-hmm.
I called Ian. I'm like, hey, I'm about to leave 581. Got anything over there for me to do? He's like, I need to put together some shows or whatever for Concrete, Janelle Monáe, Scar.
Was Killer Mike there then?
Killer Mike.
Okay.
Those 4 artists. So I'm like, cool. I go over there. I get with the A&R that they had there already. His name was Jay Meeks. And back then, Big Boy was developing this thing. Well, Jay Meeks was working on a thing called High School High, a mixtape. Mm-hmm. That's when mixtapes were jumping or whatever. So me, I had already been doing like different little tours and stuff, like putting together college tours and stuff on my own. So Ian was like, why don't you put together some type of tour around High School High? They gave me permission. I went to all the different schools, high schools around Atlanta, and talked to who I needed to talk to, principals or whatever, about let's bring in the artists, which would have been Scar, Janelle Monáe, Killer Mike, all our artists in, and let them do shows at the school and let some of the artists perform for them. Like a High School High would be like a showcase. And then Jay Meeks had worked on a mixtape, so it would all flow together, mixtape, and you got the show. But my biggest thing was showcasing the artists to the kids. We did it a couple of times. We did school in Southside off of I can't think what it was, but it was on the South Side. We did a couple of shows. Then Big Boy came up with this thing called Big Boy's Boom Boom Room. Mm-hmm. He did it in the underground, Sugar Hill, the old Sugar Hill Club, gone now.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
But I brought in a dope artist, female singer. I would go to Cafe 290 when I was with Jagged, and that's where we recruited a lot of our artists from. Carol O, she had a showcase called Who's Got That Vibe? Mm-hmm. And I was usually on the panel. Miss Casey put me on this panel when I was with Jagged, so I kept a relationship with Carol O, so she would invite me to come back even when I was over at Purple Ribbon. So I found a lot of artists that were coming through her showcase and introduced them to Ian, and he was like, yeah, cool, they could perform, whatever.
Bro, what year was this?
And it's been so long, I don't remember. My years kind of run together now.
I understand.
I stay so busy. But, all right, I'm going to wind this down. This is a long story. But anyway, so after that, London grew. London was he was like second in charge to Ian when I came there. London also was head of urban with the Atlantis Music Conference. Remember, Atlantis was the 10 years.
Atlantis was
the largest music conference in the world. And I was right there with London, because we met at Purple Ribbon. He worked, because London and Ian are like this. So wherever Ian is, London was right there. But I came in, and London and I hit it off, and he just took me around with him and stuff. Keep in mind, London's younger than me. But most people who saw me back then, I think they thought I was younger because I just look younger. But I'm 52 years old. So I told London, I'm like, hey man, whatever you need me to do for Atlantis, let's start putting together tours around that. It never came to fruition, but we had the conversation a few times. Mm-hmm. Now, while I was working on Atlantis, I met Kevin Shine. Kevin Shine at the time was working on with Jive Records. That's why I ended up working with Jive, was because Kevin was working with Wayne Williams, who was the head of A&R at Jive then.
Yeah, I know Wayne.
He's also the person who founded R. Kelly. That's how I ended up working on Untitled with Kevin, the album Untitled, Grammy nominated album. Anyway, so Kevin, the relationship, I mean, we still talk every once in a while or whatever. We haven't seen him in a while. Last time I saw him was at what's my man name?
Is he in Nashville now?
He's still here. He goes LA.
Somebody told me he lived in Nashville.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. But I was there when I was a part of his original team for writing sessions. That's what he's doing now, all around. But I was there. When we worked Jacob Lattimore through writing sessions. Right. Before he became Jacob Lattimore. Everybody came through writing sessions. Kevin really, when he moved here from Chicago, he had a vision, and a lot of his vision I see a lot of people doing now. Right. The things people are doing. I'm like, damn, I remember Kevin used to always tell me this stuff. Yep, that's true. I was like his chauffeur, so.
All right, we're going to fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm out of here.
As y'all see, he can talk, right? He can talk.
I really don't want to talk, honestly. He asked from the beginning, so I'm going, come on, get me in there.
Hey, man, I wanted him to give me a summary, okay? He was about to write the bio for y'all right now.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
So listen, what inspired you to create, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of your companies and your brands. What inspired you to create FameLive Mag and FameLive Enterprises?
Okay. In order for me to talk about Fame, I got to go back to Jagged. Okay. Because this is when they were transitioning from, I guess, Columbia to before they signed a new deal with Def Jam, with So Def Jam. Right. I was there in that area, in that gray area, when they didn't have distribution.
Well, I know a lot about the gray area, but that's for another time.
Right. So, or maybe they did. Maybe they had it, but I was looking at them saying to myself, yo, why is this? I'm listening to this music. I'm in the lab listening to them craft this music. I'm like, why is this music not popping? Right. And it clicked to me, it's like, no promotion is not being promoted. That's when I got into doing a college tour. Fame, fashion, art, music, education. And I ran around from all 10, 20 different HBCUs in the Southeast for a year and a half, 2 years. And while we were doing it, we did a couple of shows with a guy who was associated with XXL Magazine, because I felt like we needed to associate a magazine to what we were doing, simply because the kids didn't know the independent artists I was bringing. They didn't know the designers. They didn't know any of the people that were with me. But if I had a magazine, they could attach themselves to the magazine because it's physical. Back then, we didn't have social media, so it was something physical to hand them or whatever. So like, cool, we'll do that. And while I was doing it with them, I felt like XXL, the brand, just kind of overshadowed what I was doing with Fame. So I'm like, all right, I can't do this with them no more. And one of my friends, she had a magazine called 612. And for a long time, I used to try to get her to partner with me. Like, yo, partner your magazine with the tour, blah, blah, blah. She was busy. I guess she didn't get time, or maybe it was just God or universe. Like, it never happened. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own magazine. So with that, I partnered with a great artist. His name is William Floyd, King Pop. If you're familiar with the Rap Snacks bags, he's the one. He rebranded Rap Snacks, like the bag with the artists on them and the paintings. That's all Pop. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what his situation is with Rap Snacks, but that's Pop. If you look at the corner of the bag, it's got a crown. It's got Pop. That's him. Right. He was the art. I was the music. And then our other partner, K.O. Allen, he's a designer. He's done shows, Paris, New York, all that. But he was our other partner. So it was Fame. It was fashion, art, music. And all of us are educated, so it was education. That was the first magazine. And that's where the branding in the Fame started.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool. So, do you still have Fame? Is it still going?
Well, Fame the Experience was that magazine.
Okay.
And Pop, everybody decided they want to go do what they were doing, but me, I want to stay with the magazine.
Right.
So instead of me saying, well, I'm just going to take Fame the Experience, which was the name of the magazine, I said, I'm going to create my own brand.
Right.
FameLive. And the whole premise behind that was fashion, art, music, education, live, with a live element. That's why we did tours and shows in Miami and everywhere else, because I wanted to keep that part of the brand alive. Right. But I didn't want to go away from my original vision, which was connecting fashion, art, music, education. Right. See, people connect fashion, art, and music now, but back then, nobody was connecting it. I connected it.
That's true.
That's a whole other story, though.
That's true. I mean, even although people might have connected art and music, you know, like Russell Simmons, for example, the education part was not a part of it. Mm-hmm. So so you're absolutely right about that.
I read his book. I was inspired by Russell Simmons' first book. Yeah. A lot of the things, the way I do business is based off of that first book I read. So it may have seeped into my brain somewhere, and and came out while I was being creative. Yeah, well, thank you for that, though.
Yeah, I think with Russell, it was the diversity of siblings as well, right? Yeah. Because he had incredibly talented brothers. Run became who Run was, but he had a brother named Danny. Yep. Who's an artist, a painter, and so
people forget. I forgot about him.
Oh yeah. So that was, that was always in the mix.
Was he a dread? You know, dread?
Yeah.
I remember him. I remember.
Yeah, Danny had dreads.
Nobody even talk about it.
So, all right. So where are you now with FameLive Mag?
Oh man, we're good. We've transitioned from more of the focus being on music. And the only reason it was so focused on music is because most of my relationships are in the music side, whether it's producers. Like, we did a cover with Drummer Boy. We did one with, what's her name? God, I can't remember. But she's a really dope artist. She's up for a Grammy this year.
How she has the cover and you don't remember? You can't think of her name right now.
It was in the beginning.
And she's up for a Grammy right now.
It was in the beginning. it was way back. It was. Okay. We're talking about 4 years ago.
Gotcha.
I did a cover with an artist from Toronto. Her name is Adriana. I mean, if you see me with a T-shirt on with a lady's face on it, that's Adriana. That's the one with her face on it. We just did a cover with D.L. Warfield, if you're familiar with him.
Oh, please, of course. Yeah, I've known D.L. a long time from his days at LaFace.
Good, man. I interviewed him and
exceptional artist.
Responsible for so much stuff that people don't even realize that This dude outcast all of their artwork on the Quimini. Come on, man. I remember buying that CD back then, or tape. Maybe it was a tape, and opening it up like a damn. It's like a comic book.
I'm a DL Warfield fan. I've followed his work. You know, two of the people in the business on that side in terms of art that, you know, I never got a chance to work with DL, but it was DL Warfield and Julian Alexander.
Okay.
Julian I got to work with quite a bit. Julian did like album covers for me, and you know what I mean. Yeah, man. Single covers, but he always wanted to get with DL. I'm a fan. He's
really cool dude. Man.
Really cool dude. I've met him a few times, and you know, really came off as a good dude. And from what I've heard, he is a good dude.
Oh yeah, he's his son plays football at UNA in above Huntsville, which is it's Florence, Alabama. Yeah, I know all about Florence, but
I saw him post some catches from his son from I guess his most recent game. Kid is incredible. Yeah, he made some difficult catches.
Let me tell you some ironic shit. Really ironic. Now, I played high school basketball, and one of the guys on our football team is a really good friend of mine. His name Willie Anderson. I don't know if you're familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Well, he's been going into the Football Hall of Fame for the past 3 or 4 years. Hopefully he'll get in this year. But anyway, Willie and I played on he played on the basketball team with me too in high school. So I'm interviewing DL, and he's like, I'm from Mobile, Alabama. He's like, you know Willie Anderson? I'm like, Stu Meat. He's like, yeah, Stu. I'm like, dude, we played. He was the dude that played football and then came out for basketball and played with us. Right. We already basketball players, so we got this football. But Stu, that's my dude, man. He's big, huge.
Yeah, Willie played for what? The
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, Cincinnati Bengals.
The Wall.
Yeah.
The Wall.
Yeah, dude, I definitely do remember Willie.
He was like that in high school too, though, man. I mean, that's why we were our high school was number 1 in the nation with Willie on the offensive line. Like ESPN came to the school, gave us awards and all that. But anyway, back to the stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But DL said that.
DL, we want you on this show too, man.
Hey man, come on. I'll make a phone call, see if I can.
Definitely. That would be a treat.
Yeah, because the history of not just his LaFace stuff. When he was telling me about the stuff he did in New York, I think it was Tommy Boy or something. It was one of those older labels. I'm just like, damn,
it was Tommy Boy. Yeah.
And I remember seeing all those the old stuff. I didn't know he did that shit too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did all the legendary LaFace stuff. Is like pretty much all him.
Oh yeah, him and I think he said he had one creative partner or something. I can't remember who it was or anything, but yeah, DL, good guy. But back to the magazine. We transitioned away from music, like I was saying, more into the fashion and art space because, you know, I started going down to Miami for Art Basel with Pop, William. Yeah. And, man, I just love art, man. I'm like deep into that space now.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't think you have missed the Art Basel in the last couple of years.
I missed last year.
Did you miss last year? Okay.
But I'm going this year. I'm actually planning on releasing a cover with you know who Maya Bailey is?
No.
I did an interview with Maya Bailey last week. He'll be the next cover we drop in December.
Okay. And
Maya Bailey is just like DL. Like Maya Bailey was done stuff for Coke, McDonald's. I mean, so many different brands, but he's like, yeah, they ain't paying me, so I'm not saying their names. But
Gotcha. I feel you.
But that's where we're at now with the magazine.
So, and you guys have a film division?
Yeah, FameLive Enterprises has a film division.
Okay, so how is that coming along? From what I understand, you guys are working on a project right now?
Yeah, I co-produced, co-wrote, and co-directed a short film in 2015 with back then with one of my partners. His name is Travis Christian, called Gift and Curse, and we won an award for it. It was an 11-minute short film, but we won Best Female Actress. I think that's what it was. One of these film festivals here in Atlanta. You know, but hey, I'm still an award-winning filmmaker. Anyway, so
doesn't change that.
I got a bunch of couple of documentaries and some other stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. But as far as me taking it seriously, I just started taking it seriously like maybe 2 years ago, and I started writing a script called Edgewood about, of course, Edgewood, downtown Atlanta. but it focuses on Edgewood Pizza and 5 people that work inside of the place and the different interactions with all the people who come in and out of there during the day. 3 years, finally finished writing the screenplay. And now we were in pre-production, but we've started production as far as shooting and everything. Over last week we started.
That's what's up. So what is it called?
Edgewood.
Oh, okay, just Edgewood. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what inspired the film storyline?
I know the owner of Edgewood. He also owns Handlebar, which is like 2 doors down from that. And at first, when I started writing the screenplay, it was really about him being from Africa. Well, he's from Ethiopia. I forgot what you call it.
Eritrean.
Yeah. Beautiful women, that's all I know. Anyway, that's where he's from. He moved here with nothing, pretty much, and he just built himself up. I mean, he started, I think, crazy part is Pop introduced me to him, because when Pop first started, painting and stuff, he would have his stuff in Bob's first Edgewood Pizza, which was just like in New York, like a bodega, just straight back. Right. Now he's made it where you can sit down and stuff, but in the beginning it was just a glass space, people making pizzas on this side, and you just come in, get your pizza, and go out. But Pop introduced me to him. At one point, I was doing stuff with FameLive, which is the musical side at remember Department Store?
Yep.
I used to do events at Department Store. Did you see the New Edition movie?
Yep. The
kid that played Ralph, he performed at one of my shows at Department Store. Him and Mike Sean. I know you know who Mike Sean is, Jermaine Dupri or whatever. But so Bob came to a couple of my shows, Department Store. We became friends, and I started talking to him about, telling his story, because I felt like it was a dope story. Over time, over the years, Bob is extremely busy. He never got back to me. I was like, look, I'm just going to finish the screenplay, and I'm writing you out of it, but it's still about your place. He was like, all right, cool. So, I can use, it's like.
That would have been interesting, though.
Yes, man.
Hey, I'm curious right now, just thinking about an Eritrean guy making pizza.
Oh man, Bob, don't put. He'll tell you, don't put pineapples on it. Man.
You know what I mean? Because that in itself is interesting.
Oh yeah, Bob's a cool cat, man.
Cool. So, how does your background in music industry influence your approach in media and film?
I'm really overly protective of everything creative, because I feel like all of it sort of is creating a narrative around Black people in general. So certain music, certain films, certain things in culture I don't really like. I remember being a fly on the wall and watching Brian and Brandon work in the studio. Watching them actually just play a track and go in the booth and hear humming, and all of a sudden a song comes out of that. So I know what it's like to actually craft a record outside of just what's going on now. So I don't respect it. I'm starting to have to respect it because it controls everything.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe I'm overprotective over music and film, anything creative that the kids are being inspired by.
I feel the same way. We have to be overprotective. I think that's one of the issues right now in media and the music industry in general, is that it's not enough people gatekeeping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? and that's something that should never be abandoned, right?
I totally agree, man.
There has to be gatekeepers, and
that's where the issue happened when you eliminated the gatekeepers.
Yeah,
because anything gets out now, and I just feel like the music game, to me, because I'm like totally like screw it. Like if you check my Spotify, I listen to a whole bunch of old school hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock. You know what I'm saying? Techno. I don't listen to new music. Maybe J. Cole. Maybe Benny the Butcher, that whole crew, Griselda, a few other artists, but Lil Baby, some of his stuff I could deal with.
Yeah, Lil Baby and the Baby.
I like the Baby, yeah. But all the other stuff, I'm just like, no. Like I'm not a Migos dude. I never was, never will be. Future, some of his songs I'm not even gonna hate. Some of his songs, one or two, like they jump. But other than that, man, I'm just like, it back to your point, it influences me to want to put out positive imagery or positive music. Like I put together a mixtape, sort of like back in the day when we used to have a source. I used to put together the music to go along with the magazine. I did something similar for FameLive. You can go on the website and click on music, and you'll see the mixtape on there. It's artists from all genres, from all over the United States that I put on there. It was the first one. I think I'm gonna put another one out.
You should.
In December.
You should. There has to be a medium, and there has to be champions,
right,
of good creative product. And I think those in the space have to be able to kind of take responsibility, regardless of whether they're getting a lot of fanfare for doing it or not. But just basically feel a responsibility, to it and execute.
Yeah, people are like, I still got friends that work in the music business, in the industry or whatever, and having conversations with them about music or whatever. It's like, dude, I really don't like this, but I got to make a living.
Right.
I got a family,
and that's sad.
I just bought a house in Malibu. Like, dude, I'm like, bro, if you can live with that shit, cool. I mean, I couldn't do it. That's why whenever I've been approached about working at labels and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, I would love to do it, but I want to do it on my own terms. And my terms are kind of old-fashioned, if that's the word you want to use. You know what I'm saying? I still believe in having morals and shit like that.
Right.
I mean, now, today, people do anything for money. I'm not one of those.
Socially responsible, yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it, man. My mom, I could hit my grandmother, my mom in one ear, grandmother in the other. Whenever I'm thinking about doing anything wrong,
right.
Like shit. I gotta live with y'all. Y'all aren't here. But yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you have faced in building a multimedia company, and how did you overcome them?
I mean, I'm still overcoming them because like music is like second nature to me now. I know publishing, I know all that music-wise, I know that. But when I came into the film, the media space, whole nother learning.
Right.
It's like starting all the way over from an intern with Jagged now, but I'm an intern as a businessman, so I'm learning. Right. I'm learning through experiences with doing stuff with Fulton County, with commissioners and all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, that's a process, and understanding how those relationships work outside of how the music stuff works, because it's totally different. Just working with the county. I learned that the county and the city don't work together. I'm like, are you freaking serious?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on some events with former Commissioner Natalie Hall. Her big park event she would have every year. I worked on that with her, and it was like, man, can we get this done? Like, well, we got the city. Like, they don't work together? I'm like, nope. I'm like, oh my God. But then it's more with me. What was the question? Shit, I'm all over the place. I'm lost. I forgot the question. What was the question?
Yeah, I was asking about what are the challenges that you have faced building a multimedia company, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, still overcoming them. Back what I said. The biggest hurdle in any operation of business is going to be finances. Maintaining my life while doing this because I love it, because there's no real money in it. You know what I'm saying? I hustle. I'm an Uber driver, Lyft driver, whatever, Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying?
Any and everything to push that entrepreneurial spirit.
Right, legally. I mean, I could do some illegal stuff. I'm just not built for jail. But anyway, so stay out of jail. Right. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, what most entrepreneurs would probably say finances and relationships, because once I moved to Atlanta, I found out that relationships are like, that's money, that's golden.
Yeah, relationships are, I think two of the most important lessons I learned in business. Mm-hmm. And I learned very, very early on because somebody taught me. I didn't realize. I was once asked, what's the common denominator in business? Mm-hmm. And I think my first response was something like money. Right? The person looked at me and said, said, well, what if not money? They said, people. They said, you're not going to get anything done without people.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. And then, as my career progressed in the music industry, I realized, man, relationships are everything. It wasn't about what you know. It was about who you know. And then somebody took it a step further and taught me yet another lesson. He said, it's not about, who you F with. It's about who F with you.
Who will co-sign?
Right.
If I give you this money,
right,
you're gonna get it. Oh yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah. And so you kind of, as an entrepreneur, you kind of go through all that, you learn, but those are nuggets. If you can have that understanding early and really connect to that understanding, that is the most important thing that you're dealing with. And I'll give you an example. I think we literally kind of saw it play out in real life. People like to kind of analyze the whole Jay-Z, Damian Dash thing, right? Not really a lot to analyze. I mean, what I saw was I saw one partner that realized that they could increase their net worth pretty quickly by building relationships in one direction. And you had one partner that was kind of reluctant to kind of go in that same direction. And so they Dame didn't really kind of feel like they needed anybody. And Jay kind of felt like
he wanted to spend their money instead of his own.
Right. He wanted to kind of see what they were doing and what was going on the other side. Yeah. And, how can I get down?
Yeah. Dame didn't care.
Right. And Dame was like, like whatever. I'm not messing with them people, and that's how that happened. So 2024, 2025, right now, what advice would you give to emerging artists trying to break into the industry?
Performing artists?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. For old people like me is love your craft. I mean, perfect your craft. If you want to be around like Michael or Prince or Janet, you got to perfect the craft. Now, if you just want to make some money, do what everybody else is doing. But if you want to be around, you want longevity, you want your catalog to be worth something someday instead of just garbage, because that's where the money is. The money is in the catalog. You know that. Artists don't even know that. They don't get it. But they look around and they say, well, how can you have a Revolution commercial growing up with Michael Jordan, and then you got the Beatles playing, the old Beatles record playing, and people are like, man, somebody making some money. It was Michael Jackson, because he owned the Beatles catalog.
Pretty much.
The point is, perfect your craft. Look at it like it's real business. It's not just something you're doing to pass the time. That's it. Make good music. Make music that people are going to feel that I'm going to listen to, or that your grandchildren want to listen to when you're gone. And you know what I'm saying? Because right now, everything is so microwave, man. It's so annoying. It's just oversaturated. Like this one kid I'm into now, London. You heard London? You heard October London? You ever heard of October London, man? October London? He signed to Death Row.
Oh, yeah?
Snoop's artist. Stupid. I did a write-up on him in the magazine, well, the online presence of the magazine. So you can go on the website, FameLiveMag.com, read the article. He's dope.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, he's really fly.
Definitely going to.
He sounds like Marvin Gaye.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his mixtape was called The Rebirth of Marvin. And he sounds just like him.
You know what's funny? I have heard that title, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think I read it. I think I read something that mentioned that was like a must listen, but I hadn't gotten a chance to actually check that out yet.
That kid is, man, he's, whoa.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm old head, so.
He's on Death Row, huh?
Death Row. All right. Snoop's first artist is popping.
Is the Rebirth of Marvin.
Come on, man.
That is funny.
Dude is smart, man.
Snoop? Oh,
smart. He
Snoop is
he'll get
brilliant.
the check.
Brilliant.
But you know who he learned from, right? Master P.
I know he's always learning too. That's the thing.
That yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Keep learning.
That is an invaluable skill.
Yeah.
Just to be aware, to keep learning. Never stop learning.
No, man, you start learning. I took up the notion, the wording years ago that when you stop learning, you start dying.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you think about a person that work not 9 to 5, someone that work in a factory. Nothing wrong working in a factory.
Right. But
they're on a wheel. They're not learning anything. And so if they're not applying themselves somewhere else, that's it.
Right.
They're stuck. So to me, that's like death. That's why I could never go back.
Yeah, and I think how do you view artist representation today?
As far as management?
Artist representation today and mentorship on the executive level today.
I honestly believe that there are a lot of us out here that would be happy to mentor people, but a lot of these people won't listen because everybody, and I'm not going to say everybody, the majority of the artists out now, most of them think they know it all, as well as the executives. Because think about it, executives used to actually be executives. Mm-hmm. Executives now are party promoters and shit. Because
that's true.
They saw me at a party and I can rap, so they took me to a label and they got the big party. So the label's like, well, we'll do the deal because of you and your influence. Right. But this party promoter don't know what the hell he doing when it comes to managing.
Right.
Because think about it, back in the day when I first moved here, when I really understood the game, I went to I think it was a party at the studio, but it was artists that came in because they wanted to meet Brian and Brandon and Jagged, the whole aura. And it was this one attorney who brought his artist, a female singer. Mm-hmm. See, back then, I was in Alabama. I didn't realize a lot of the managers were attorneys. That's how, signing off your paperwork. And it was easy that way. But that's the way I look at it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of, they're definitely.
Joel Katz.
There are a few. I'm not going to call any names.
Oh, I mean, he's a manager. He's a lawyer.
Right.
That's common knowledge.
Yeah.
Google it.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me ask you this, man. What is your purpose in life?
Wow, man, that is a really good question. Wifey must have told you that question. What is my purpose?
Yeah, what's your purpose in life?
To inspire as many young minds as I can, to nurture as many minds as I can, because I have nurtured and inspired a lot of them, and they're doing bigger things than me, and I'm proud of all of them.
That's a really great answer.
Yeah, a producer I used to manage won a Grammy. He was a part of the production team that Nas' first and only Grammy. I have no issue with it. He didn't thank me. I'm cool with it.
Right.
I'm proud of him because I remember when he was just a kid making beats.
Oh, I know what you mean. I have a long list.
I do too. That's just one.
I have a very long list like that.
But that's why we
an astounding list.
Yeah.
And people normally ask me, well, don't you kind of feel a way that that you're not acknowledged? I'm like, no. I think everyone has a purpose in life, and you're supposed to be at certain places at certain times and make certain contributions, right? For certain things to be possible. Sometimes you're on the star end of that thing. Sometimes you are the means. That's true. For that thing. And I think you have to be acceptable, right, of all the roles that you'll ever play in life. That's right. Right?
God put us in certain positions for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all... Like sometimes I sit around, and this is real. I sit around and I think like, damn, okay, God, this is where I'm supposed to be. Because I do, I mean, we all do. We look around and see people we know. And we're like, wow, man, I remember when we were all sitting at the table or we were all talking, and I'm looking at them now and I'm like, that little voice whisper in my ear like, you're doing what I want you to do. Everyone is supposed to be in a position for a reason. And then he'll tell me, have you been homeless? Has anything happened to you since you've been in this business that would definitely destroy you or break you? And I'm like, no. You've only given me things to teach me to keep going. But whenever something happened that felt like it was too big, I always found my way out of it.
Right. And, and not only that, sometimes you can never look at another person's timeline.
True.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because everyone's timeline is different. Right? And so a lot of times when if you're worrying about, man, we were just kind of sitting around and now that has happened for, your time might be around the corner. True. You're being given all the tools.
Prepare you.
It's preparation. You're being given all the tools, that will equip you for that journey.
That's right.
Right? Not just to arrive, but to stay. A lot of times people don't realize that's equally as important.
That's true.
You can get to the destination, but in business, it's about staying power. When you get there, can you remain there? It is so hard to remain at the apex of achievement.
That goes back to your original point was, it's not who you know, what you know, but once you get there, what you know is what keeps you there.
Right.
And that's what I always live by that. Like, people be talking about, man, such and such, yeah, but they got in the door, but where they at now?
Right.
Because it wasn't sustainable because they hadn't been through anything to teach them how to get there. That's why a lot of lottery winners are broke. Yep. People try to figure out how they broke. Like, they weren't prepared for that money.
Lottery, music executives and entrepreneurs, NBA, NFL, whatever. Mm-hmm. And stunningly, how many times have you ever heard of an NHL player being broke?
Damn, I think about it none.
Kind of makes you go,
Or do they just keep it low key?
Or they keep it low key. Yeah. I mean, we don't know, but it's definitely not saying it doesn't happen. I'm sure it happens, mm-hmm. but in comparison, right, to the NBA, apparently it's not happening that much, right?
Right.
Or the NFL. So let me ask you a question, Rodney. Do you love yourself, man?
Of course.
Why? What do you love about yourself?
Man, you got some good ones. The main thing I love about myself is my integrity, and I won't bend for nobody. No money, no woman, none of that. If it's not in line with my moral compass and what I believe in, it's got to go.
It's got to go.
Or I won't even deal with it.
I respect that, brother. I respect that. And what's more important to you? Love, loyalty, or respect?
That's another good one. Loyalty, probably. Probably loyalty.
Why loyalty?
Because a person, man, that was just a good question, Daren. I believe that in order to you have to love someone to be loyal to them. I mean, I think loyalty and love kind of go hand in hand. The respect part, there's plenty of people I know don't respect me. But damn, I don't know, man. You got me.
I was about to say.
I'm totally confused.
Somebody could love you. That doesn't necessarily mean that respect you.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be loyal to you either.
Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me think about in my terms. It won't take me that long. You hear people ask that question all the time. You never think about how you're going to answer. I never thought about answering that question.
That's why I love asking that question, because people kind of just, they blow past it.
Okay, love got to be, yeah.
Okay, why love?
Because the other two things will come with it. If you love me, you're going to respect me. Most times. You don't think people, you don't agree?
I mean, if that's what you think, but I don't agree that it's fundamentally true.
Okay.
I mean, there are relationships, there are marriages where one spouse claimed that they love the other,
but they don't respect them.
They're not loyal to them either.
Yeah, that's true. Man, that's a good
right?
one.
But they swear up and down that they love the individual.
I'm gonna post that tonight because you got me. I've never been stumped on a question. You got me. I'm lost. I'm gonna think about that moving forward, though.
Oh my goodness!
Love, power, love, respect, or loyalty.
Love, loyalty, or respect.
Loyalty is okay. I can't answer it like that, but I'll answer it like this: the most important things to me, in order, in dealing with people in business, is loyalty, definitely, because I feel like you got to be loyal to me. And that's what I interns, anybody come and work with me. I don't mind you going and working with whoever, whatever you do, but be loyal to me to an extent.
Right.
Just let me know what's going on.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Loyalty is a big thing. That's why the first thing I said was loyalty. I didn't think about the love and respect.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, if that's what it means to you.
What about you?
Respect.
Okay. I can see that.
Respect. When I was younger, I used to be really perplexed, right? Because, in the streets, somebody had killed somebody over disrespect.
True.
And I used to try to understand, well, that's stupid. You know what I mean? You kill somebody because he disrespected you, blah, blah, blah. But, then as I became a man and kind of went through some things, I kind of realized that without respect, there's a foundation, right? And without respect, those other things don't necessarily come. Because if you respect someone, the chances of you being loyal to them is great.
Yeah.
Right?
I get it.
If you respect someone, the chances of you loving them properly is also going to be better, right? And what I mean by that, let's say if you're in a relationship or a marriage, you might have a lot of temptation, right? But if you respect the person, if you truly respect the person, you're kind of going to be like, I can't do that, man. I got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think when there's respect, there's certain boundaries that kind of govern the other two.
But you can also.
But if you don't respect the person,
of
right,
course,
then, and I'll give you an example, in a crime family,
right?
Once that Don has lost respect, there's no more loyalty.
Then love or loyalty,
right? Yeah, there's
right.
No, there's no. I mean, we saw it kind of documented in the John Gotti story about the Gambino family.
Yeah.
Right? Once Paul Castellano kind of lost that, it
was a wrap.
Yeah. Once he lost the respect,
Goodfellas.
Of the troops, they were able to kind of rally and make them go away, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, but your point that's a great point. The respect, all that other stuff is gonna come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you define success, my man?
I think everyone has their own definition of what success is. That's why I always answer it.
I love the question.
That's why I always answer it. It depends on what you value.
But that's not an answer. What I asked you is, how do you define success? Not what you always answer or what others say.
Okay. My definition of success is never having to go back to corporate America and being able to sustain myself over the past 20-some odd years and doing what I love to do because I love to do it and never having to go back, never answering anybody to an extent. That's what I define as my success for me. But everybody doesn't feel that way.
And that, my friend, is how we're going to wrap up this podcast. Because the way he just said that is a rogue asset.